Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be taking a look at the speed statistic and how I think Galaxy of Heroes is kind of transitioning away from speed being like the most important thing. I still think speed is very important, and maybe the best way to say this is speed is still very important. I don't think its importance has changed, but other stats are starting to increase in importance, which means that at times we're going to be sacrificing speed for the sake of other statistics. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to show you guys all this kind of stuff. And we also got some huge news about Galaxy of Heroes today. So like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Let's give massive shout outs to the channel members for all of their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to the Discord. And the Discord, guys, so much great stuff going on there. Really cannot stress enough how great that Discord server is. I have a lot of fun there, and I hope that the community there, that we've helped cultivate is just awesome. So let's get into Galaxy of Heroes, and before we talk about speed mods, I want to talk about a big update we got today about Galaxy of Heroes. You may be wondering, Phil, what are you talking about? Like, there wasn't a big update in Galaxy of Heroes. Well, there absolutely was. So if we hop over to the Discord here, of course there we go. So we got a big update that Heroes of Middle-earth is going to be sunsetting on May 24th of 2024. They're turning off all purchases, and the game is getting removed from app stores and will eventually just cease to exist on May 24th of this year. I feel bad for the players who've invested their time, money, energy into this, because that sucks. This game did not last very long at all, and I think that the reason I say this is big news for Galaxy of Heroes is I think it shows you that this game is here to stay, right? That Heroes of Middle-earth was probably, I'm not even going to say that it wasn't generating revenue. It was losing money. As someone who works in finance, you'd rather make, a 10% margin instead of a 50, you'd rather make 15% instead of 10%, but I'd still take 10% over zero. So I think this was absolutely losing them money. And I think that I think this kind of shows you what was happening with Capital Games, that what was taking the meathead so long to get the road ahead out was that they were probably all trying to brainstorm, how can we save this game, or is it time to just toss it aside? So that's really big news for Galaxy of Heroes. It's here to stay, guys. I hope that gives you some solace. To Heroes of Middle-earth players, hopefully you find this channel, subscribe, and join the Galaxy of Heroes community. We would sure love to have you. So let's talk today, though, about speed mods. I do apologize, but I wanted to bring that up because that is a huge thing for Galaxy of Heroes. So, speed mods, are they losing importance? So, at one point in time in Galaxy of Heroes, speed was everything. All that mattered was, did you have a faster Darth Revan than your opponent? Was your Jedi Knight Revan faster? That, these two characters, I think, really, there were other situations where the speed race mattered, but I feel like it got exacerbated by Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan, where their speeds were just so incredibly important to the mirror matches. And then there's other characters in the game, and I have them listed down here, who really want to be fast in order to get the most benefit out of them, particularly with different Omicrons and stuff like that, where, these guys, they just all want speed. And I think this mindset kind of trickled down to everyone, where we just assumed that every single character, all they ever want is speed. And I've been finding more and more that I am at times not focusing as much on the speed of my character and more some of the other stats, that I'm willing to sacrifice some speed if it means I can get more of something else. And I think this is a big transition in Galaxy of Heroes, because I'm seeing more and more characters get released. Even Boss Nass here, I think very much is the kind of character that, to me, seems like, yeah, you know what, you're going to want some speed on him, and mine's trash, don't pay attention to mine. But that you're going to want him modded for protection or health and some potency. And I think that's a big thing that this game is trying to transition away from, is just, hey, speed. Think of Marin. Marin literally doesn't need speed at all. She gets no benefit from it. And I think this has been something I'm seeing more and more with Galaxy of Heroes, and I think that's good for the game. And they've released characters like the Stap, where they're like, hey, he needs to be fast. This character literally has to be fast. But I'm getting the impression from more and more things that sometimes speed can take a backseat to other stats now, because of the way that characters are interacting. So let me show you guys a couple examples. So, of course, everybody knows tanks want other stats than speed. And I feel like this is something where we understand this and we grasp this. Like, tanks is easy, right? Yeah, you know what? They don't want speed. Like, and, you know, Malgus, you could make the argument, wants speed. But if you're only modding him for speed and you're not caring about his health pool, then, like, you're modding him wrong. He needs health, right? Like, with all these characters, their survivability, defense, health, protection are all far more important than how fast they are, because they're oftentimes not there to take a lot of turns. They're there to be a meat shield and protect that team. Malgus may be a little bit, and Malik, you know, could be on that side of, yeah, they want to be faster than the others, but you still want to prioritize their health and protection. So, the other thing, though, is your GLs, like these 5 and also Sith Eternal, none of these characters have speed arrows in my team. None of them have speed arrows. And the reason is because with GLs, they get so many stats that it's so much better off to increase their health or their protection, or in Kylo Ren's case, their offense, and sacrifice a little bit of speed. Now you can see here, like, I've got a 25 speed secondary mod here. But, you know, you compare that to Darth Revan down here. So I'm losing 7 speed on this mod. So we're not going crazy. But you can see that, like, in, you know, for other times, you would never have sacrificed 7 speed, because that means that you could lose a mirror match. But we're not doing mirror matches anymore. We're not reliant on mirror matches. And if you're still relying on mirror matches in 2024 in Galaxy of Heroes, you need to completely rethink your strategy. And that includes Leviathan, which I'll get to that in a whole nother video where I talk about that. But I'm telling you guys, mirror matches make you, I'm going to say they make you worse. That you, like, they make you a worse player. But with your GLs, they do not need, like these ones in particular, they don't need speed arrows. They're going to benefit more from having other stats. And that sacrifice in speed that you're going to make is significantly more beneficial than trying to sacrifice, you know, the stat that, hey, I'm going to put this one up here and we're going to lose all this extra protection, but I'm going to gain 12 extra speed. Like, as long as your Lord Vader is fast enough, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's a certain point where he's fast enough and is going to beat the vast majority of things. So I want to make that clear with your GLs, that I really think, especially these guys, I think Jabba and Kenobi, we could make that argument that they might want speed. But even still, if you get fast health arrows, I would throw it on them. Like, I don't think you're missing out on a ton of stuff. I feel like with those GLs, you know, speed is important to the degree that, okay, yeah, you can't have 400 speed on your Jedi Master Kenobi. But if he's 550 instead of 560, is that the worst thing in the world? Not really. I mean, you'd like him to be 560, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So I want to make sure we understand that, right? Just kind of, you know, get through that here. But what about some of these other, like, non-tanks, non-GLs, right? So all these guys are attackers, and I've been kind of transitioning to them of using mods that are other than speed arrows. So General Skywalker's got protection, Drogon has offense, Maul has protection, and then Starkiller, Jedi Knight, Luke have offense. Obviously, there's other ones I've got modded for health and things, but with these characters, I'm getting far more out of them by having a stat other than speed, because there comes a point where he doesn't, like Starkiller. Yes, he absolutely wants speed. You can't afford to have a slow Starkiller. But having extra offense up here is well worth having a slower speed down here. You could say, well, Phil, 25 speed, but I'm still losing 7 speed compared to an arrow. Down here, like, we're still, you know, 20 speed is fast, but, like, I would never slice this mod to try to, like, I would not try to take this offense and put speed up here. You know, where's another good example? Like this one down here, right? I might try to take this protection and move it to speed, but, like, I would never touch the offense numbers. So I kind of hope you guys see this thought process I'm going through here, that so much of modding is, I think, like, we get so focused on speed that we forgot to look for other stats. And I think Capital Games has really tried to make this happen, where what we were doing was, I'm going to go up to, like, my Darth Revan, for example. Of course, it won't let me scroll through that. Like, what we were doing is just finding any mod to throw on Darth Revan because it was fast. And you're like, oh, he doesn't want any of these stats, but it's got 24 speed, so I don't care. I think they wanted to get away from that. I think they want us to pay more and more attention to these secondaries like this, right? Flat defense is trash, but it's 24 speed, so it's on Darth Revan. But I think they want us to start paying attention to these secondary stats other than speed, because they're releasing more and more teams. And in the one I want to show you guys, right, like, the biggest example of this came released in 2023, which was the Seer Junda Unaligned Force Users. This faction, to me, I think solidified, like, this video making and the idea that, like, speed is not nearly as important here. And I shouldn't say not important, but, like, that's the best way to say it. More so, speed is not as important on these guys as other statistics, right? That they want you to look at the whole mod and say, yeah, you know what? This only has 9 speed, but it's got extra health. It's got protection. This one, I mean, this is a bad example because it's 20 speed. But, like, 12 speed with health and some offense, which, like, I don't like that for Seer. But you can see that we tried to pay attention to stats other than just speed on these mods to try to get as much out of the character as humanly possible. So my advice for you guys this year is focus on stats other than just speed. Look for those opportunities where you can build really good mods that aren't quite as fast. Because, like, this mod on Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, this is beautiful. Ton of offense on an attacker who really wants to be hitting hard. She doesn't need a ton of speed. Giving her additional protection, which in that unaligned force user team is amazing, right? That's solid. You know, hey, this one over here, it's got giving her extra health, not as much speed, but a little bit of offense. I'd like to slice that some more. And then the thing is, let's say that this rolls, you know, 10 more speed. Well, now I can transition this to a character who, yeah, maybe they want to hit hard, but the speed is maybe a little bit more important on them. Think of, like, Captain Drogon maybe, or, you know, like an Inquisitor or something where, yeah, they'll benefit from some of the offense, but they really want to have that speed to be able to, you know, take turns, where someone like her, she might not need it. So I wanted to show this video. I don't know if, I feel like I'll get flamed in the comments for this because everybody's going to be like, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. But I really think that the more things that have been released, the more it seems like speed is becoming where the other stats are kind of catching up to speed and saying, hey, we matter too. And I think this was very intentional by Capital Games because they saw us not caring at all about anything else other than, is my Darth Revan 1 speed faster than everybody else? And I know that's so long ago, but you've got to think of how long that mindset was with us, that you needed to be just 1 speed faster. So hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully it teaches you a little bit of the way that I have been modding recently, where I've really been trying to get myself away from just building speed arrows for the sake of speed, trying to build better secondary stats across everyone. And if you're still watching, you guys get a little teaser here, you know, of how I think through a mod. So let's go up to this one for Maul. So it's got speed, health percent, and offense percent. My thought process with this mod is that, okay, if it rolls a lot of health percent, I'm going to go throw this on a tank, right? I'll go find a tank to go throw this on. If this rolls a lot of speed, okay, it went to him. If it rolls offense, maybe I could keep it here. Maybe I move it to somewhere else. But the thought process is that if this mod is only like this one up here, right? This is one I got lucky with. But if it rolled a lot of crit chance and a lot of offense, like flat offense, I don't really have somebody to put this mod on, right? Like, I'm really reliant on this mod rolling the, you know, protection percent here. This one down here is another good example. You know, protection percent, offense, speed, defense percent, and then flat protection. I could use this mod on a variety of characters depending on the stats that it rolled, because if it rolls a ton of defense, I'm throwing it on a tank. Rolls a lot of offense, you know, attacker. Hey, flat protection and speed, I can maybe use this on Jedi Master Luke. So my advice for you is find mods that have chances for multiple different stats, like percent stats, and that, hey, you know what, depending what they roll, we can move that to somebody who could utilize those things. I think if you do that, you're going to have far more success in this game because your mods will be able to transition between characters easier rather than having a mod that, like, hey, I don't know where I'll ever use this mod right here, right? Like, that's a real situation that I think some players are in, where they're like, I don't know where I'll ever use XYZ mod because, you know, it's completely reliant for, or it's only one that I could use for Maul or something. So hopefully you guys, again, I know I'm kind of all over the place with this. It's been a heck of a day. Anyway, that is my thoughts on speed arrows kind of losing, you know, in speed itself, kind of not necessarily losing importance, but the gap between speed and some of the other stats has closed, and so you can't just only prioritize speed. And that's the point of this video. Again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, really big news for, you know, Galaxy of Heroes with Heroes of Middle-earth kind of falling to the side here. So May 24th of 2024 is the sunset period. So hopefully we see Galaxy of Heroes kind of picking up from there. I love you all. If you're still watching right now, go ahead and say that Heroes of Middle-earth would have worked if Wampa was in the game. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.